All men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of
If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear.
Make America great again.
The Big Mig.
Welcome back to the Big Mig Show, Rise and Grind. Of course, it's Monday morning. We're back in the saddle. Myself, Lance Miliaccio, and my co-host, George Ballantine. It's always tip of the spear, edge of the knife on this show. Of course, you know how it works. We go after everybody, and we're still talking about Epstein. You don't have to worry about mainstream media control on this show. If you're looking for the truth, you found the right spot. And if you're looking for lies, you probably should turn us off right now, because that's not what we do. We try to do the research, look for the facts, the sauce, the evidence, the receipts. We do everything we can to bring you the actual factual news across the board. Plus, you know, of course, a few laughs along the way. A couple of guys from back east got to have some sarcasm on for the ride. So, George B., holidays, man, they're going along. I know about your Christmas. Oh no, what do you got? What do you got?
Yourself a merry little Christmas.
I like it.
Frankie boy, that's Frankie Sinatra.
Let your heart.
Yeah.
That's just for you, Lance.
Thanks, George.
I got something else for you too later.
I love holiday music, of course. You know, the most important thing is spending times with your family, because, you know, that's, to me, is the top priority. And of course, taking care of yourselves, because if you're going to wait around for somebody to save you, if you think somebody in government's going to do it, yeah, you're thinking wrong. It's not going to happen. You have to take care of yourself, your friends, and your family. That's your top priority, in my opinion. And of course, hopefully you guys all had a good, good holiday, good Christmas, good Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating. Hopefully it was great for you and your families. Let us know in the chat how things go. George kind of he thought he had a plan, and then he got sidewinded. He thought that if he stayed in Florida a little extra for the Mar-a-Lago event, that he would be able to avoid the dinner prep for Christmas dinner. That didn't really work out for you, George, did it?
Not at all, man. I mean, I literally got off the flight, got home at 9 p.m., put my luggage in the room, and was thrown right into the kitchen till like 12:30 at night, and then all day the next day, and then on Christmas Day cooking some of the food and to bring it up to the family's house. I mean, it was just.
I told him to throw down like he had a stomach bug, like he caught something down in Florida, because you guys know I caught a stomach bug right before the Mar-a-Lago event. I was okay in Mar-a-Lago, but I had a rough day, ate some bad food or something at a restaurant, and paid the price. But I told him, man, you should have just told him you caught it from me, and could have gone from there. All right, let's start off. You know, if you like the show, most important thing is thumbs up, comment, share. And if you could do the $5 subscription, great. If you can't, you can just do the follow. Of course, we know it's a tough economy. We're not going to try to force you to do anything. It's a great way to support us. We have lots of overhead and costs. And of course, Rumble Rand tips are always appreciated through the holidays. Of course, we're all spending money. That's how it works. But of course, you know, as you get older, you try to kind of think things differently. You do it mostly for your children. My daughter's 29 now. So, all right. Gold and silver. Hopefully some of the people in the audience listened when we told you, I think it's damn near over 2 years ago, we told you to buy gold and silver. It's beating the S&P 500. Silver has disconnected from gold finally, way overdue. Everybody knew about the shortage. Everybody knew what was going on. I don't even know where it is today. I know we were like $76, $77. People say $100 is imminent. The guys over at Genesis Gold Group are your go-to people for gold and silver. It doesn't matter whether it's your IRA. I don't care if it's for general investment or if you just want to buy some bullion to stick in your underwear drawer, your gun safe. This is the 62.2 gram prepper bar. And what sets this apart from all other bars, if you take a look, I'm going to tilt it there. There are 3 different denominations on there, which of course, this isn't only for diversification or asset protection from inflation. It's your ability to make a payment just in case the U.S. dollar is fully crashed and $39 trillion in debt. Hopefully, Trump's got a plan. I don't know if he does. You never know if your credit cards are going to stop working, because there's a lot of things going on in the banking world. that if you don't know about them, you should be worried. They dipped in over the holidays into the loan protection system that the Federal Reserve has in place. A lot of money got moved around. They haven't really announced it, but it's pretty ugly. So, of course, economic turmoil or its very unique utility for barter and trade, the Prepper Bar is a perfect gift for all those precious metal lovers out there. These babies are exclusively mined and minted in the great US of A. And with these prices, if you don't think counterfeit gold and silver is an issue, you are mistaken. There is all kinds of counterfeit stuff showing up on eBay and elsewhere, coming out of China, coming out of India. And you'd be shocked. They're putting real gold or real silver in the corners of a bar or a coin or in the center. And if you don't test it correctly, you'll think it's real. So the guys over at Genesis Gold Group, they've been in the business for decades. They'll fit neatly in your wallet. Their utility, of course, enables use in any situation. Head over to thebigmigbar.com. That's right, thebigmigbar.com. You can take a snapshot of that QR code. George makes it easy for you. And that, of course, 888-526-7154, 888-526-7154. And don't forget your promo code. All caps Prepper, PREPPER, PREPPER. That'll get you 10% off on the silver and 5% off on the gold, which, of course, those are turning out to be really good discounts at these prices. Thebigmigbar.com.
Hold up. Break me off a piece of that Prepper Bar. Brought it back.
George, you got to get in this. You're back, buddy. You're back. You had to get back in the saddle. We didn't have a lot of that going on when you were in Florida.
No.
Well, we've got a great guest for you today. You know how we do it on this show. We try to mix it up. It's, about your health. It's about your life. We bring on special forces. We bring on actors and actresses, social media influencers, political, interviews. We kind of just try to give you the full spectrum, kind of a Joe Rogan style show. So today we have Joshua Hale, AI expert, tech innovator, and of course, beyond the matrix. He's known as the holistic tech wizard. He's a life first business architect, AI specialist, founder of JH Media and Consulting LLC. He's passionately exploring AI's transformation role, as we do very often on this show. He's demystifying what it is, navigating its risks like technocratic control, and of course, harnessing it ethically to boost critical thinking, automate busy work, and build value-aligned businesses. Of course, prioritizing your life over what naturally happens, which is burnout. He's got expertise in practical AI applications, digital marketing, holistic strategy. And of course, he's guiding entrepreneurs to redesign their lives and create passion-driven ventures with efficient systems. So he's launched Beyond the Matrix. It's a 12-week initiation program to deprogram you from societal dependencies. We do it a lot on this show. We tell you guys you have to be very careful. The mainstream media is a controlled operation, and you have to pay close attention to what you're buying into. And I don't care, forget your political beliefs. We always tell people on this show, common sense is your top priority. I say go with your gut a lot of times. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's a freaking duck. And don't be told otherwise that somebody's trying to convince you differently. Do we lose Joshua there? He's backstage. Yeah, we might have to wait. He might have lost his Wi-Fi there for a second.
I don't know. I know he's got high-speed internet, Lance. He's got optics because I was talking to him about it backstage.
Yeah, well, that can happen. Sometimes you lose a connection. But look, this is going to be a great show. The reason we think this is important, we're going to go over the website. Joshua's got it figured out. He's not in the matrix, and he's helping people get out of it. And for you people in the audience, I believe that is really important. So let's get Joshua, and he's backstage.
Wait.
No reason to leave him back there any longer.
Bring this thing back on. Give me a second.
Oh, yeah, sure thing, George. Kind of happens sometimes, guy. We warn you. And, of course, there's always the internet involved. One of these days, they may fully shut off.
All right, welcome to the Big Mig Show, Mr. Joshua Hale. That's what happens when you're in the boondocks in Washington State.
Thanks so much for having me on. Sorry about that tech hiccup. I'm glad to be here.
No, it happens. We fight that all the time. We've been legitimately suspended and banned on all kinds of platforms. Sometimes we kid around that we're on a topic that maybe they don't want us to discuss, because you'd be surprised that it seems like the riskier the topic, like Epstein, because we're still talking about Epstein on this show. Joshua asked us backstage if there was anything that was off limits. We don't go into a lot of stuff that would get you banned on certain platforms, and you know which ones I'm talking about. We just got back on, but at the end of the day, we're not one of those controlled shows, Joshua. So really nothing's off the table, with the exception other than violent rhetoric. We don't buy into that because we never think that's the right answer. although it's pretty frustrating. A lot of us have dark thoughts when it comes to what's going on around us, wondering how we fix our legal system and fix our government, local, state. The longer, the more and more gets exposed. And Donald Trump, I think, is probably attempting to do the right thing. Is he compromised? I have no idea. He's got a lot of influential people around him. I can't believe that Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg have even been invited to come around the White House, but they have. I wouldn't have done it if I was him. I'm more vindictive than that. Joshua, let's give the audience a little bit of your background. I'm sure you didn't start out in this line of work, or maybe you did. Maybe give them how you kind of got started, because everybody has an epiphany moment. And maybe there was a moment when you said, this is a bunch of bullshit and I can't put up with it any longer.
Well, I've been kind of going through that my whole life. I grew up in a controlled religious household, and at 16, I rebelled. And that choice ended up leading to me being exiled from my friends, my family, everything and everyone that I knew. Got cast out into the world, ended up getting addicted to drugs because I didn't know better. I thought it was just something that was going to make me feel better. And that ended up leading into my whole 20s being addicted to opiates. And once I got sober at 33, I had to crawl myself out of this pit that I found myself in. And after getting sober, I realized like I've been in trap after trap after trap. And I came out realizing I had the mental, emotional, critical thinking worldview of a 16-year-old in a 33-year-old body. And so I had to hit the ground running, trying to understand this territory that I was now trying to raise a family in. And so that process 14 years ago has led me to being able to help others do the same, be able to examine your beliefs, examine your, assumptions, and be able to gain critical thinking skills so that you can have a understanding of the territory that we find ourselves in. And luckily, seems like a lot of other people are going through the same process, but there's a danger, which I call the red pill hangover, that you can get stuck in apathy, you can get stuck in hopelessness, you can get stuck in overwhelm. And I'm here to help people out because I realize, I got these scars, but they're actually a map, and I can help people out with going through the same process that I've been going through my whole life, going through the layer of onions to find what truth is, what's my place in the world, and stop believing in this top-down savior, and instead create structures and support to insulate you locally from a decaying civilization.
Lance, I got to say something. So, first of all, congratulations on your sobriety. And I say that because in 2 days I'll be celebrating 12 years. So I know the struggles. Nice. Thank you. I know how it is. I know trying to find your place, our purpose. I'm, still, it's an everyday work in progress, I say, project. So I know how it is. It's tough, and it's we always want to try to help people if we can. It's one of the things about recovery. So I get it, man. Great job.
I mean, the struggle is real. Just for the audience, Joshua was a Jehovah Witness. We've had other Jehovah Witnesses on the show that have broken out of that matrix. Pretty interesting religion when you know a lot about it.
Yeah, it was.
It's pretty interesting when you realize Jehovah Witnesses aren't supposed to talk to other people that aren't Jehovah Witnesses. They're not supposed to do business with them. They're not supposed to treat them fairly. There's a whole policy about that people think, they're just Jehovah Witnesses. I said, but why do they talk so badly about everybody else? Why is everybody a lesser being? Kind of like almost like a Muslim. Muslims can communicate with you. They're supposed to convert you, but in fact, they're not really supposed to have massive amounts of interaction with a non-Muslim because, of course, you are the unclean. But I think for the audience, I say this to the audience always. I always think being forged in fire is a much more beneficial process than having everything handed to you. If you haven't been attacked, if you haven't been pummeled, as an example, Donald Trump, for the most part, other than his bankruptcies, was pretty much always kind of one of the chosen crowd. And then he faced what it's like to be against a weaponized judicial system or a weaponized legal system. And hopefully he's come out the better. I don't know that I think he's doing a perfect job. I think there's a lot of things he's doing right. But I think he's also got a lot of individuals around him that shouldn't be there. Now, that's the same thing that happened in the first administration. But for those out in the audience that are struggling with sobriety, I never had that issue. I recreationally in my youth used drugs and alcohol, but I never really had that want of wanting to do more than one night out or something. So I was lucky enough that for whatever reason, I didn't deal with that. Now, should I have probably dealt with it? Yeah, I think so, because I went out a lot, hanging out with a lot of people that were doing drugs and alcohol. I was all over the world traveling and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But I never, when I didn't want to do it, I could just turn it off. And now I really don't really drink and I don't really do drugs at all. I haven't done anything in, I don't know, a long time. I think the last time I had a beer, I was around George, and that was probably what, George, a year and a half ago?
I don't know, Lance.
I haven't had anything since. I'm trying to think.
No.
Anyway,
you had some when you went to didn't you go when you were at a Christmas party or some party? I don't know.
No. I mean, I haven't been to a party.
The Nile's just not a river in Egypt, Lance. Just letting you know, bro.
Well, anyway, I don't really, the truth of the matter is I just don't have the time or the patience for the hangovers. But what you're doing is really interesting. I want to comment, and then I'm going to have both of you. George, I'm going to flip to you first. Yeah, it's a struggle. There are days when I am looking through the news cycles, even myself, and George and I are, the way that we investigate stuff, it's all about the truth. We don't take anybody's word for anything. We double check the sources and we go through. And we hope that they're saying the right thing, but we always say, hope for the best, expect the worst. But it is a struggle because I have kind of a dark side. The problem is my natural, choice is to move to violence. I feel like most things can be cleaned up like that. Probably as a contractor, I developed that kind of behavior. I came probably from a background. I'd always been in martial arts my whole life. I grew up in a gun culture. My godfather was a capo for the Gambino crime family. So I grew up around that. So for me, it's like, okay, well, he's a problem. Let's get rid of him. In my head, that's what I think. Now, of course, I fight those demons. I don't do it. I'm not that person. I'm doing everything I can not to be. But when you look at the news cycle and you see the amount of crap that's going on, George, we talk about it a lot. I'm like, look at these sons of bitches. Look what they're doing now. And George and I have to kind of talk ourselves off a shelf, off the ledge once in a while and go, man, I'm telling you, these people just don't deserve to be sucking up oxygen. George, what are your thoughts?
I kind of agree with you, but I mean, I look at things like what can I do have control over, and what is beyond my control, and it's a balance that I have to look at and say, well, I could do this show. Me and Lance can do this show to try to raise awareness because I'm not in that government position, or Lance is not in there. We just clean house and start throwing everybody Gitmo as much as we love to. But we're not in that position. I mean, we'll take a position. Anybody wants to give it to us, trust me, we will. But until then, we're going to keep educating. That's that's a balance of life right now.
We're going to need that letter of presidential immunity if we were going to take that position. But Joshua, you talk about pulling people out of the conspiracy rabbit holes. And the problem is that, these conspiracies that we all thought were conspiracies, that we all said, oh, come on, that can't, and this is years ago. I had this time when I thought, oh, that can't be true. Come on, they can't be trafficking all those kids. Or I can't believe they would be stealing all that money. I think the theft's probably 10%. Now I'd have to say the theft is probably more like 80, 90% probably, with the way we're hearing about Minnesota, Ohio, California. Mostly the blue states we're hearing, but I believe the theft is going on even in the red states. I know there's a lot of theft going on here in Colorado. But how do you get people to come out? Because they're out there, they're watching what's in the media, they're listening to it on radio, they're listening to podcasts. Hopefully they're listening to the Big Mig show and maybe they're getting some truth, but they could be listening to shows that aren't telling the truth. They might be watching The View. And what they're hearing is, dude, how do you make the line between today's conspiracy is tomorrow's truth? How do you kind of help people with that?
Yeah, well, I like a good rabbit hole, just like anybody else that watches your show. However, I don't get stuck in them. And I've had to learn this process because coming out of, religion and then, the party scene and addiction, I had zero critical thinking and understanding of how, the world has gotten like this. So it took a lot of education to realize that, oh, this is a long game that I've been born into. And there are players at play doing what they do, and they have had centuries to learn how to manipulate the general public. So we now luckily have a tool alongside, your inept critical thinking skills, which I've came across the trivia method. If your audience has never heard about that, that's thousands of years old method of critical thinking developed by the Greeks that involves general grammar, Aristotelian logic, and classical rhetoric, using them together, not as separate subjects in high school or college, but being able to identify truth through that process by input, processing, and output. I can go into that deeper, but now we have this handy dandy tool called AI. And there's a lot to be said, a lot to be concerned about this thing, but it can be a fantastic research tool if you know how to use it, if you know its capabilities, its strengths, its weaknesses. And this 100 million documents that just got dumped that were magically found from the prosecuting attorneys regarding the Epstein files. This is going to be a very powerful tool to be able to utilize the trivia method, which is understanding the grammar. What are all the facts? What are all these pieces of data points saying? And then you take it to logic, and the logic is removing contradictions, being able to apply the Aristotelian fallacy system to be able to sort out the noise from the signal in there, and then moving it over to rhetoric, being able to process that information and deliver it to others so it can be shared and understood. That process was not taught in high school, was not taught in our public education system. So that was definitely a thread I was able to grab onto, teach myself that process, teach my kid that process. And now leveraging the power of AI gives us a huge advantage when these documents are going to be dumped onto the general public. And what happened before AI, people wouldn't be able to figure out the narrative inside of them before the news cycle shifted, which right now everybody's talking about Epstein. It's safe to talk about Epstein right now. But after 100 or a million documents get dumped, they're hoping that's going to take a long time. But I think they don't understand that the general public now has access to these tools, has access to critical thinking, and a lot of new things are going to come to the surface.
Did you see on the documents they put out that they were redacted, that you could just put your cursor over it, copy it, and paste it in a different document, and it shows what's in there? Because yeah, I just went over this with something like 3 weeks ago, and I was talking to Lance about it, that I had some documents given to me that were redacted. It was given to me electronically, but they weren't really redacted. They just put black boxes over them. So I went to the source of where it came from, and they're like, that's not the way we do it. They actually physically print it out, go over it with a marker, rescan it in just for that reason. And what you're seeing, like copy and paste. So I don't know.
Yeah, some people online are alleging that was done intentionally.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
That they released them intentionally, that there may be people that within the DOJ that are attempting to get the truth out. There still seems to be a lot of questions about whether or not Pam Bondi can be trusted. I'm not a fan of Pam Bondi. There are other people in the administration I am not a fan of. She's one of them. I think she should be replaced immediately. We've already burned up a year, and I have as many deep state arrests as Pam Bondi does right now. So, let's get somebody in there that wants to do the work and isn't afraid. There's a lot of, photos of Pam Bondi with the Bushes and other people that have been circulating, which makes me question her background. Now, again, just because you took a photo with somebody does not necessarily make you guilty. But my concern always is this. You're right about AI. If you understand how to use the directives and you understand how to get through it, I use AI quite a bit. We use it for the show. I use it to, maybe write a short bio like I did for you, or we might look to scrape questions off of different websites, off the internet, to try to make sure we're talking about current things with Joshua Hale. I use it for a lot of legal research, and you have to be careful on how you use it for legal research. It's doing less of the hallucinating now than it did before, but there were case citations and other things you had to be cautious of. Also, it would create legal quotes that you would swear were accurate, but then you would scrape the cases for that exact quote, and it didn't exist. So you really have to give it an extra pass through. You also, one of the directives I've been using lately is when you get done researching something, is that you have to go back in and say, now critique your work. Go through the entire document and look at it as if you're an opposing, taking the opposing position, and try to undermine and critique the work from that perspective. Now, if you do that, you will get much better information. My concern, and Joshua, you tell me, and I think AI is going to put a lot of people out of work. There's no doubt that it's already impacting the legal system because people are writing up their own agreements and they're filing simple cases, civil cases for small dollar amounts. They're also analyzing cases that are being sent to them, and they're determining that the claims that the opposing counsel is making are total bullshit. They're using the same thing going over their medical bills. But do you feel like there may be some danger because AI is only as good as the people that are programming it? Do you feel like there's some danger in there that you have to warn people about?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of concerns about AI, and I'm very vocal about these things. But typically, it's not Terminator. It's not here to destroy humanity right now. The current AI is large language models, and it could lead to developing something that could be, Terminator-esque. But right now, it's a very powerful tool that uses language to be able to process a bunch of information. And this has been in development for 50, 60 years, the term AI. And AI is a horrible term for these large language models because AI is such a broad term that's being stuffed into everything like your toaster and your fridge. But there's legitimate concerns like autonomous weaponry, right? Nobody's talking about that because once you take the human decision-making process out of what these drones can do, what these machines can do, it's a pretty dangerous world to be moving into.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, of course, it can be an ally. I often will create a project if I'm using Chat or I'm using Grok. I'll create a project. Now, Grok doesn't have as good a memory. I don't like the fact that from session to session, Grok will completely forget. That's why I prefer ChatGPT. If you're going to do programming, Claude is clearly the winner when it comes to programming. If you want to make apps or programs, or you want to create some kind of a software scrape, that you want to use for finding media. But AI assistants, let's talk about those because I think there are a lot of uses. Now, I took my legal AI assistant, and over several months, and I gave it a name. I didn't really want to keep, so I used the name Jarvis from Avengers because I found it humorous. And I have had it take classes at Georgetown, Yale, Harvard, you name it, every top law school in the country. I've had it specialize in areas of civil and criminal law, whether it's pro se defense, pro se attacks, arguments about certificates of innocence, you name it. I've had to go. So when I had to take general background in federal law because I wanted to use it for a lot of stuff on the show. So I had to take as much as it could. I did that over a 3-week period. Every time it finished, I would give it a new set of directives. And I also had it help me create the directives. So for the regular person that doesn't need a legal assistant or doesn't have a show, what is one of the AI ally programs that you like to help people set up that will automate their work week instead of weeks of work into minutes for your business, for your clients, for your home, whatever? Give me an example of what you do.
Sure thing. So I help people with their businesses and figure out what they're passionate about and how to make money. That's what I do all week. One valuable thing outside of that is just bias detection and being able to identify media spin, right? Average person, me, when I was like 17, 18, I had no clue what the media was doing to me. And so now we have these tools that we can analyze how things are being framed, what's being said, what's not being said. And this gives the user, the viewer, more information to make informed decisions with. So right now, if you're just, hearing the news as it breaks from your flavor of, news source, even including alternative media, because that has its own, perspective and agenda, you're getting one side of information. And if you don't know the tactics of how they shift words around to be able to downplay like this Epstein thing going on right now, it's very irresponsible how they're handling things. It's not irresponsible. Like there is a protection mechanism taking place that is shielding co-conspirators. Like this is now a known thing. So being able to utilize these things, I'm able to then grab articles, grab transcripts, grab information sources, take them to AI, run them through my customized, bias spin media detector, and it will then point out how it is being spun in a particular way so that I can learn through this process, but then also get a clear understanding of like, okay, what are the actual facts? And again, trivia method, like let's break it down to the individual parts. If you don't understand a word, go look it up. to be able to understand the foundation of what's being taught, because I used to assume a lot. If I was reading a book and I didn't know a word, I would just kind of jump over it and try and pull in context from around it to assume I knew what it was talking about.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. I stop, I look up the word. I'm excited now when I come across, new terms. And that is part of the critical thinking that's needed. And like I said, AI is a huge helper now, not to replace that process, but to expand your own learning.
You don't think AI is going to dumb down the people and kind of tarnish critical thinking? Because yeah.
And this is the difference, right? The AI that's being forced into Instagram and your Facebook Messenger, those are dumbed down versions. And that is the general populace, how they're going to interact with AI. They're going to use it to try and pick up women, how to make jokes, right? And not using it to its full capabilities.
Wait, they're going to use AI to pick up women, you just said?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're not. They're just going to buy a woman robot, like AI doll.
Well, right. And that's going to be the butt of the joke, is that they're just going to be paying for AI women.
And it's interesting because as funny as that sounds, there are all kinds of YouTube tutorials on how you can analyze your pickup game on women. There are all kinds of people out there that, I don't care whether it's Andrew Tate or others, that are advising you how to do it. But what I think is really interesting about tech, I see it now. And George, you and I just had this discussion maybe 30 days ago. We were talking about how people are losing the ability to communicate unless they're sitting behind a keyboard. And when I say keyboard, that means computer, iPad, phone.
It's not losing, Lance. They lost that ability.
Yeah. And you'll go out, and George, we talk about this. You'll go out and you'll go to dinner, or you're out with friends. And George and I are sitting across from each other. We're not on our phones because we're already on it a lot. And they will, it's like this. And they're taking pictures of their food, and they're taking videos of the restaurant, got to take a selfie video. And the interaction of the people at the table is almost non-existent. And what I think is this tremendous amount of social interaction that's been removed. Because when we used to go out to the bars and nightclubs, we didn't have phones. When phones first came out, they were either that big backpack. I had one of the original backpacks, or the giant Motorola brick, or the mini brick. You really didn't want to carry that damn thing around. And the people that carried those around were usually desperate for attention. It looked really weird. But a lot of people had pagers. But of course, you'd have to have a phone nearby, and you didn't really care if somebody paged you at night, unless it was some girl that was coming to meet you and you wanted to tell her what bar you were at. But it wasn't like that. You sat there communicating, you socialized, you interacted. What do you think? What's you're dealing with lots of different people, Joshua. Do you see that where people seem socially awkward that you're trying to engage with, and you see that they've become so dependent on tech that they've really put themselves in a position where they don't have the ability to communicate any longer unless you're on a keyboard?
Absolutely. And I think this is by design. Things didn't have to go this way with technology, but with social media, with how the phones have been designed, they don't respect your privacy. They are there to interrupt your day. You are meant to get 120 notifications breaking your train of thought. And over time,
and your data is a business to them. They sell your data. They sell your interaction. They sell your research. If you're online and you're looking at watches, don't think that your feed isn't going to get filled with watch ads on Facebook, Instagram, True Social, or otherwise.
And we knew about this, when Cambridge Analytica broke, right? This was 10 plus years ago now. And it's only gotten more developed. Now with AI, these companies are going to be able to guess what we're doing all the time and be able to feed us, ads that we want. But on top of that, cybernetics has been a study for the last 100 years of how man interfaces with machine. This has been known science of how to get people to be able to be in that loop with machines, to be able to, take away critical thinking, take away attention spans, take away their ability to, process information. And so I think we're now living in a society that has been designed this way, and you have to intentionally put bottlenecks, technological bottlenecks in your environment so that you are not glued to your phone 24/7, because that's where they want you. That's where they want your attention. And if you don't create a lifestyle that balances out tech then you're in serious trouble. You're going to lose your communication skills. You're going to lose your ability to empathize with others. You're going to lose your ability for sustained critical thought. And my life has been designed so that, you know, I got 3 monitors in front of me. When I'm running AI, I got 3 models open constantly, and I'm running them against each other. But then I unplug and I go out and I go help with sheep. I go help in the garden. I go run this homestead and help my family out. This is a life that you got to design so that you are unplugged a good majority of the time, and you're not being trained, as cybernetics has plainly pointed out, that human beings could just have their decision-making process taken away from them.
Well, your philosophy, you emphasize life first business. You want to explain to the audience what that means? Because a lot of us, because of how things are financially and because of the economy and the difficulties of business, I find it even in what George and I are doing. You know, we have other businesses also, George and I, but we get so focused on this one because it's such a fight. It's a fight to monetize. It's a fight for sponsors. It's a fight to get the right interviews. It's a fight to make sure that we're translating the message to the audience that we want to convey. That it's not always about the money, because we've had opportunities to make money we passed on because we knew we were selling our message out. So let's explain to the audience, what is life first business?
Yeah, it's really about designing a life that is fulfilling, aligns with your values, aligns with your principles that you choose to live by. You're not sacrificing those things for a paycheck, which, you know, a lot of companies and, you know, military and education institutions make you do. And being able to figure out, what are you good at? What are you so good that, like, you just can't turn off? What are those things about you? So having a good analysis of your personality, like what gets you into flow state, and being able to leverage those things so that you're able to find a way to be of service in the world and be able to provide value to the marketplace with those, you know, superpowers, and be able to then monetize it. That process is what I love helping people out with, because once you realize that, oh, the thing I love to do every day, like me, I like helping people with, you know, with their businesses and their lives, taking my experience and helping those behind me. That process I loved, and I get supercharged. And so being able to find other people that are passionate, and then being able to leverage, you know, this whole online world, this whole online economy now, we have the ability to get in front of the people that, you know, need your help with whatever you're good at. And this process is now available because of online economy, and now with AI. I used to work in a marketing agency. It would take 10 weeks to go through this process of understanding, you know, what your business idea is about, what your business is about, who your audience is, figuring out how to make a good offer for that audience. And now I'm able to do that in just a couple days without a team of 8 people. I used to have to charge $10,000. Now it's a whole lot less. So we can leverage these powerful tools to be able to shorten the distance from your idea to the marketplace, just so you can get it out there and be able to then see if it's going to stick. You know, are people actually going to respond to this or not? And if not, then pivot. You guys are entrepreneurs. You got to put a lot of, you know, bait out there into the lake to see what's going to take a bite. And same thing with entrepreneurship. So being able to shorten that distance now to like just a couple of weeks of being able to throw those ideas out there, see if people are going to respond to it, will allow you to be able to generate revenue streams, to be able to then, you know, take care of your family. Because I don't see how, you know, sacrificing your values is going to be something that you're going to be able to teach your kid what not to do when you're doing it. And so being able to have those revenue streams to be able to build that foundation for your family, to then be able to, you know, stand up and actually make a stand in this world instead of cowing out just because your paycheck's at risk.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's easy to sell yourself out. All right, we've got to take a short break here on the Big Mig Show. We come back, we'll be here with Joshua Hale, George Ballantine, myself, Lance Miliaccio, tip of the spear, edge of the knife. You want to change your life, stay tuned, because again, it's a new year coming up. You need to make some new choices, smart choices for you and your family. We'll be right back.
Look, Lance, I got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for you.
I like it. It's funny, we were asking about that the other day, weren't we? I was asking that on radio.
Christmas Eve, Santa came to play. All right, don't go nowhere.
you ready to stand up for your community and support your local sheriff? Join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and become a vital member of the Sheriff's Citizens Posse. At CSPOA.org, we empower citizens like you through weekly webinars, arming you with the knowledge to back your constitutional county sheriff. Together, we can uphold our Constitution and ensure liberty and justice for all. Your community needs you now more than ever. Visit CSPOA.org and join the Sheriff's Citizens Posse today. Make a difference. Stand for freedom. That's CSPOA.org. Your country, your fight, your future.
What if you could predict your financial future? And what if you could trade on it? Introducing Block Trust IRA, the future in your hands. An astonishing 88,000 millionaires were created last year from the Bitcoin boom, and you could be next. Block Trust IRA is the only crypto management firm powered by AI-driven strategies, ranked #1 in the world by Bitcoin Magazine. The Block Trust IRA platform is built for everyone, from first-time buyers to seasoned investors. Predictive AI technology that was once only reserved for insiders and elites is now available to you. It's time to leave the old buy and hold strategies behind. Your assets are protected with military-grade security, offline cold storage, and $200 million in insurance. Visit BlockTrustIRA.com to book your free consultation and ask how to claim up to $2,500 in deposit bonuses today. Bitcoin changed the game. AI changes the strategy.
Hi folks, I'm here today to introduce you to the Prepper Bar from PrepperBar.com, the most unique precious metals product we have seen in a long time. These 62-gram bars are perforated and easily broken down into your choice of 3 different sizes to fit a multitude of needs. Whether it be from asset protection from inflation, economic turmoil, or its unique utility for barter and trade, the Prepper Bar makes a perfect gift for all the precious metal lovers out there. Exclusively made here in the USA and selling out fast. Available in both gold and silver, these slim Prepper Bars fit neatly in your wallet, and their utility enables use in any situation.
Forged through rigorous training and honed by the finest instructors on Earth, these canine units serve beside our nation's warriors as they fight to preserve what we cherish. When these warriors complete their duty, the Warrior Dog Foundation provides them with a home deserving of the service they've given us all. At our state-of-the-art kennels, they receive rehabilitation and care suitable for heroes, because that's what they are. Be a part of giving them a future today. Visit WarriorDogFoundation.org.
All right, welcome back to the Big Mig Show. Here are your hosts, Lance Migliaccio, yours truly, George Ballantine, our special guest, Joshua Hale. You know, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, the like button. Share this on your social media while we're live. Help build the show, help educate, because people need to be educated. You know, help us grow. And that red button that says Big Mig Mafia, hit that button, $5 a month subscription. It helps out with overhead. Every little bit helps. Whatever you can, we appreciate any and all support, no matter what. But let me give a shout out to our sponsor. You know, Lance and I, we have the perfect solution for the people that can't watch their crypto 24/7. That's why I'm here to tell you about BlockTrustIRA.com. They're bringing access to cryptocurrency wealth to everyday people. Their exclusive Animus AI training platform works 24/7, analyzing market data that goes far behind strategies that go buy and hold. This is sophisticated technology once reserved only for Wall Street insiders, but now it's available to you. And it's no surprise this system was named #1 crypto technology platform by Bitcoin Magazine out of more than 1,500 global competitors. So whether you're a teacher, a truck driver, a small business owner, or a retiree, watching inflation eat away at your savings, BlockTrust IRA's advanced Animus AI gives everyday Americans the same advantages as a financial elite. And clients are already seeing over 250% returns on their investments, all with military-grade security and up to $200 million insurance. Your wealth is fully protected. So don't wait. Visit bigmidcrypto.com today and see how you can join this financial revolution. Once again, that's bigmidcrypto.com today. And actually, you can get up to $2,500 of free crypto. I got the QR code right here. Take a screenshot, save it to your photo files. Do it after the show because we got some matrix stuff going on. We're getting into the matrix or out of the matrix. How do we even get at it? Well, let's go beyond the matrix, as Joshua Hale says it. You know, you have phases. What? I'm strengthening the body with tools like what? Breath work, cold plunges. I see a lot of people doing these cold plunges and nervous system resets. And we all know everybody needs digital privacy. That's a hard one. But you have what? Financial strategies like Bitcoin and infinite banking. So, I mean, what's I'm going to say the super mix? How do you blend these seemingly diverse elements into a cohesive path to actually becoming ungovernable?
Well, as you guys know, I've been sober for 14 years. I had to hit the ground running just to feel like I was catching up to being able to provide for my family. And over those 14 years, I learned a lot of good things and methods to be able to navigate this world that we're in. Nervous system reset, that's a big one, right? If you don't know how to control your nervous system, every dropping headline is going to be taking you for a ride. So I was able to gather all the stuff that really helped me to be able to, see the matrix for what it is, to be able to have an understanding of critical thinking, like I talked about, to be able to then, master my body so that I'm able to be, physically fit, sound of mind, and being able to, be emotionally sound as well, because that stuff's not taught in school. Being able to be as I call it, holistic living approach to where all areas of my life I have taken responsibility for. I'm no longer outsourcing, these aspects to my doctor to expect him to take, make sure I'm healthy. I have to learn about these things myself. So I took the 14 years of going through this difficult process and been able to compact it into 12 weeks. Sounds crazy until you understand like AI is here now. And I no longer have to, spend hours and hours trying to lecture you about, what worked for me. I can now create these custom AI allies, as I call them, so that I can share you my story, like cold plunging, right? I used to hate the cold. And now I've embraced it. But this process is now able to be, I call it the knowledge transfer is able to take place now with AI. So I don't have to yap at you for 3 hours. I just give you this, custom AI ally, and it will meet you where you're at, understand what limitations you have, what struggles you have, your limited understanding, and be able to walk you through step by step on understanding these processes like cold plunging, how to get into it, how to create a habit out of it, and be able to basically have your own coach with this whole thing. So I've created over 20 different AI allies for Beyond the Matrix. And each week we go from the foundation of just, can you examine your own belief system? Because I had to learn that early on, right? When I got exiled from the church, and be able to examine, are these my beliefs or did somebody else install them? That is pretty foundational. And then we build week after week, and you have lots of community support, those AI allies, to be able to condense this process into just 12 weeks, which I think is pretty amazing.
Do you look at being exiled from Jehovah's Witness to church as God actually saving you, Jesus Christ saving you?
I think that it was something that I needed to go through in order to be able to get to where I am today. I realized I don't need to have a church to connect to the source of all things. I had to learn that process because when I was born into that religion, I was only given one side of things. And, I like my parents, I've come to peace with this. Like they were doing the best that they could with the information that they had available. So
yep.
I've been able to forgive them for that. And since going out in the world, having a context of understanding, I'm now able to have my own personalized relationship with what I call source. And that's helped me tremendously.
You got any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I got a little sister.
Okay.
And I'm a firm believer in everybody has the right to their own belief system. So I will stand up for your right and everyone's right to, how they wish to connect to their God. However, I'm allergic to coercion, and that was what I realized was being done to me. I was only given one side of the story. I wasn't given a choice. I was having social manipulation used upon me so that it would curb my behavior. And I'm not down with that stuff. I want to be able to freely believe what I believe without that coercion. So that's where, I take a hard stance with religion.
And it's tricky of course, because, the flaw of man is integrated into many religions, even what's going on in the Catholic Church. I don't know what to think about this new Pope or the prior Pope. It seems like all of a sudden the things that the church was built on, whether it was adverse to homosexuality or DEI agendas, now all of a sudden they want to integrate all that into the Catholic Church, which to me seems like a money sellout. They're just trying to expand their base by leaving their morality behind. But okay, that's what they want to do. That's fine. But here's a tricky one. Somebody asked me the other day, and I mentioned this to you, George. Somebody asked me the other day, maybe it was a couple weeks ago now because we were in Florida, so I lost a little bit of track, probably 3 weeks ago. Said, man, you must really enjoy doing that show with all the people that you're interacting with. And I hesitated to give the answer for a minute because I feel like the show, not with George and not with several other people, but I feel like in a lot of ways, you can end up very isolated. And what I mean by that is it's not because we're not surrounded by people and individuals and guests and all these interactions, but the isolation comes internally. Sometimes it happens because you're an entrepreneur. Sometimes it just happens because you're a person that's considered awake or woke. I don't know if I like that terminology, awake or woke. I think it's a person that's highly educated. But the more you learn about the system, the more you learn about government, the more you learn about policies and decisions and the legal system and the financial system. There's these moments when you think that ignorance was bliss, because now you don't have that ability to go back because you realize that some of the things you thought were impossible are actually true. And the things that the media told you were lies. George, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feign away from public events. My wife will have friends or somebody and they want us to invite us over to a party. And I find myself asking about who's going to be there and recognizing that the majority of the people that I'm going to interact with, I won't be able to really interact with truthfully. So I'll sit there more quietly than I normally do. I don't have much to say. And I find myself thinking, why am I even here? Now, how do you, George, I don't know if you ever feel like that. You're more social than I am. But as I've gotten this awareness, I feel like my need for socializing or my want of socializing is greatly reduced because I know that the majority of what I have to say is going to go on deaf ears.
Well,
George.
I mean, if I had to go somewhere and I can't be truthful and I gotta hear other people spewing out stuff, I don't know if I'm going to be truthful. I don't care. Whatever. It is what it is. They don't like me, then I won't come to the party. But just like the Mar-a-Lago event, I needed like a full day of decompressing from that many people, being around that many people. I like my solitude. I love my serenity, peace, and quiet. I mean, I can go to socialize in a big crowd, but when you have that many people and doing so many things, for me, I just need to decompress like for a whole day. Just leave me alone, keep me in solitude. Let me recenter myself or focus myself. But it's just like going anywhere, man. You just gotta. I always look at anything. The worst anybody can say to me is no. Big deal. It's just like if you want to meet a girl, you see the most beautiful girl in the bar. I'm gonna go up to her. The worst thing she's gonna say to me is no. Oh well, next. Most people won't though. A lot of people are so afraid because
I get that
not
part,
content. But I'm just,
But I guess for me, and then I'm going to switch to you, Joshua. I wouldn't call it burned out. I would call it intentional isolation. I find myself thinking, I don't think I'll engage, and not because I can't, and I don't feel like it damages me to do that, to not engage. I just feel like the time is the most valuable commodity we have. And often those kind of events or those kind of situations, I feel like are a complete waste of time for me. Why am I there if I'm not benefiting from it? I don't mean benefiting from it. It might be spiritually I'm benefiting from it. It might be emotionally. It might be physically. But why am I there if I'm not getting a benefit? If I'm there just to feel like a salmon swimming upstream, why bother?
Hold on. You know what the benefit you're getting? Happy wife.
Yeah.
Let's face it. That's
maybe.
what it is. For you, at least.
That's probably part of it anyway for me.
That's all.
Jonathan, so how do you get people, how do they deal with that? What do you tell people, or how do you give them tactics to maybe work through that?
Yeah, well, I think being around like-minded individuals is really important. Every 2 weeks, I have what I call a men's group around the fire. We just get around and we're able to freely talk about anything. That has helped greatly in my life because that's kind of a pressure release where I'm able to talk about Epstein without inundating my wife, my in-laws who live with us, right? And being able to process that and find camaraderie with like-minded people. That's important to me, and I need that in my life. If I don't have that, then I feel compelled to force this information on people that are just not ready for it. And I've used a metaphor, right? Majority of people over on this side. In the middle is a flame. On the other side is where I am. I've already passed through that flame. And if you try and force people into the truth of understanding, people are going to get, it's painful for them, right? They don't want to touch that flame. And they have to be able to go through that process themselves. Once they pop out the other side, I get jazzed off of pursuing the truth, being able to ask questions, be able to, dig and find, what is actually going on. And I know a lot of other people now in my life that are the same. Now, going to, a holiday Christmas party, I might, throw out some dog whistles to see, where people are standing. Sometimes I get a kick out of that just to, press a little bit. But because I have that pressure release of, hanging out with the people that I do really enjoy talking to, I no longer have this drive to I call it, the savior complex of trying to save everybody around me by letting them know there's danger outside and you really have to know about this. It's not my job to save everybody. The Coast Guard has a process that they only help people that are swimming towards them. I'm taking that philosophy myself. I put the call out. I say, hey, I got these solutions. I've walked this path. I have this map. Love to share it with you. But I'm no longer chasing after people to try and, make sure that they are aware of their options. Majority of people are in that camp.
Lance, I got something for you. I just thought of this. If you're going to go next time, you got to go to an event or like a party. A good bottle of wine and a security board, if you bring it with you, it'll do great things. And, look, just bring one like this, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll definitely make an impression on lots of people. I think so. And again, I'm fortunate. My wife has like values, so she doesn't want to surround herself with people. It just so happens you have some of these interactions, and sometimes what I find myself doing is biting my tongue because you have too much in our situation where you're maybe. I don't think we're woke or stuck. Because we're constantly educating ourselves, we're constantly researching, and we're constantly questioning ourselves. I do it myself to ask myself, is this the right direction? Am I, doing things the right way? Am I focused too much on one thing or another? These are the kind of drills I do with myself on a regular basis. And I'm probably my worst critic. I'll attack myself and I'll deconstruct what I did the previous day to feel like I was effective or ineffective. But I think it's interesting that in general, the people that are moving down this process, it is a struggle. There's no doubt. Let's talk about, do you have maybe a real life client story? You don't have to give us the name of the client clearly for a lot of obvious reasons, but where maybe AI transformed their business, but at the same time, it didn't have them stray from what their value base was.
Yeah, the way that I help people is, I can do the marketing whole part business strategy for them. I have a Zoom call. I go through an interview process, so I'm able to extract the wisdom and knowledge of what they know about their business and transcribe it, grab that, throw that into ChatGPT Pro, which I pay for, and being able to couple that with large prompts, being able to go through that marketing process that used to take weeks and weeks to do, we can now do in a couple hours. And they end up with a living document. That living document I can just hand over to them as a PDF, and that's the foundational document for their business. It now knows everything about who they are, their value system, their goals, their audience, their offers, and messaging, how to put their offer out into the world. Now, they don't have to, know what to do. They don't have to know everything about AI, but I show them how they can just upload that document and talk to it, and then be able to get their email sequences, get their social media, everything downstream of that happens just seamlessly because of that process. So I really want to empower you to be whatever level you're at. Most business owners, they don't got time to learn another app. And if you try and force them to do that, they're gonna do backflips.
Yeah, they've got their priorities straight. Let's do this because I know we've got to watch our time here.
Sure.
Let's do this. Let's do the shameless plug period. I want to give Jonathan, I'll give him a chance. I know you've got an upcoming book. I know you've got some websites George wants to put up on the screens. Yeah. Maybe you can share your social media, how people can get connected with you, how they can get involved, and maybe how they can just follow. Maybe there's some regular posting you do on a blog post or something else. But let's go get into all of it right now. Take it away, Jonathan.
It's Joshua, and you can go to joshuahale.io is where you can find my website, joshuahale.io. And, I like to have different layers of being able to help people. If you just want to, good people with good values in your audience that want help with their business or their business ideas to kickstart something up, you can come to my homepage here and it will walk you through how to get in contact with me. Best thing is just let's have a conversation. See if we're a good fit. See if, you're at a position to take advantage of the solutions that I have. And as you scroll down, you'll be able to see that I have lots of different projects for different individuals. And one of them is the Beyond the Matrix, so that, if you want help with your foundation and finding your place in the world, there's multiple ways that I can help. And we're about to do this 12-week live cohort starting at the end of January. If you, go ahead and click the left button on there. And
on the Matrix one?
There, to the Matrix one. That's going to be able to take you and join a group of live people to be able to walk through this 12-week process, which took me 14 years to be able to understand, how to live in this world and how to thrive and how to be able to be aware of all the different traps of society. This process is easily taught because we leverage AI, and these things can meet you where you're at. So you essentially get your own AI coach through this whole process on how to integrate that into your life. Because it's not good enough to just know about these things. Not good enough to know, the media is manipulating you. Everybody can know that, but to actually see the methods of how these things happen will educate you to be able to spot these things in real time. Beyond that, I like to help people out with AI coaching. If you're trying to just, learn what this whole AI thing is happening around you, how it can help you with your career, your business, or your projects, I would love to be able to, coach you through that process. And my most active social media, surprising me even, is my Facebook page, where I've been able to go scroll down the very bottom. You'll be able to see my Facebook link. I've been able to disseminate large topics and be able to share. Oh, Facebook's not there. I got to add that. All right, forget about it. Share things like Epstein and be able to take these very large concepts. And now with image generation that's available, I've been able to make really fun pictures to share this knowledge so that people can understand these larger concepts to be aware of. Because before, 3-4 years ago, you really didn't understand, most people couldn't grasp the amount of, danger that we're in to be able to actually do anything about it. So I'm really active on Facebook. Go give me a like. I have a Signal group where I talk about AI tips and tricks every day. And, I'm really here to just be of service in the world and help people out with, everything that I've learned to be able to find truth, protect your family, and insulate you from a decaying, society that we're in.
I have a question, because what is your demonstrate AI podcasting?
Well, being able to use AI so that you're able to repurpose content, taking this great conversation that we had for the last hour.
Yep.
Yeah. And not just clips, but this transcript that we just talked through is very valuable. And there's lots of little nuggets in here that you guys could repurpose downstream into, 10 Twitter posts, into multiple Facebook pages, a blog. All these things can easily be replicatable because you guys are capturing this awesome, natural conversation. So I teach people how to utilize that. And one, real quick, mutual aid groups, huge passion project of mine. This is finding a group of 8 people in your local area, ideally within a 20-minute drive, that can fulfill your needs as an individual Meanwhile, being able to work as a unit so that at whatever level society's at, right? If you just need some hiking buddies, boom, you got hiking buddies. If you need some people to help you out in the garden or with a project around the house, boom, you got a crew to be able to start working alongside each other to develop trust so that if big things were to happen, like, what was some of the big scares during the pandemic, you have a crew that you've been working with already and you can form into, whatever level of support is needed in those times. Entrepreneur's Compass, that's my consulting business where I help people out with their businesses and, business strategy. And that's the stuff I love to do all week.
It's great. And best place to find you on social media is Facebook.
I know it's crazy. I used to couldn't stand the place, but getting a lot of good reactions there. You can find me on TikTok, X, LinkedIn, all those good places too. But Facebook's where I'm having the most
And the
fun.
handle's Joshua Hale.
Joshua Hale. Yeah, you should be able to find me there.
All right. Well, listen, hopefully the audience gleaned some important bits of information. If not, if you want to really get more connected, you know where to find Joshua Hale. You've got the link in the chat. Of course, you can always go back to our shows on Rumble and Locals and now YouTube again. And you can go ahead and rewatch the video, and feel free to take the short form, the long form content, share it far and wide. We're not going to stop you. George, last words on the way out of the gate, buddy.
Well, let me see. It's Monday. It's just another manic Monday. I wish it was Sunday. But I do hope Mrs. Hale enjoys her spa day. Just saying, because someone's taking her out for a spa day.
Nice.
So, yep. Look at the man he is. That's a great gift to give a wife. Y'all have a blessed day.
It ends up helping me out, helping her out.
We know. Y'all have a blessed day. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Later.
I might have to let it drop. Said got it, hella big, had the money back again, like said had the
Are you ready to stand up for your community and support your local sheriff? Join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and become a vital member of the Sheriff's Citizens Posse. At CSPOA.org, we empower citizens like you through weekly webinars, arming you with the knowledge to back your constitutional county sheriff. Together, we can uphold our Constitution and ensure liberty and justice for all. Your community needs you now more than ever. Visit CSPOA.org and join the Sheriff's Citizens Posse today. Make a difference. Stand for freedom. That's CSPOA.org. Your country, your fight, your future.
What if you could predict your financial future? And what if you could trade on it? Introducing Block Trust IRA. The future in your hands. An astonishing 88,000 millionaires were created last year from the Bitcoin boom, and you could be next. Block Trust IRA is the only crypto management firm powered by AI-driven strategies, ranked #1 in the world by Bitcoin Magazine. The Block Trust IRA platform is built for everyone, from first-time buyers to seasoned investors. Predictive AI technology that was once only reserved for insiders and elites is now available to you. It's time to leave the old buy and hold strategies behind. Your assets are protected with military-grade security, offline cold storage, and $200 million in insurance. Visit BlockTrustIRA.com to book your free consultation and ask how to claim up to $2,500 in deposit bonuses today. Bitcoin changed the game. AI changes the strategy.
Hi folks, I'm here today to introduce you to the Prepper Bar from PrepperBar.com, the most unique precious metals product we have seen in a long time. These 62-gram bars are perforated and easily broken down into your choice of 3 different sizes to fit a multitude of needs. Whether it be from asset protection from inflation, economic turmoil, or its unique utility for barter and trade, the Prepper Bar makes a perfect gift for all the precious metal lovers out there. Exclusively made here in the USA and selling out fast. Available in both gold and silver, these slim Prepper Bars fit neatly in your wallet, and their utility enables use in any situation.
Forged through rigorous training and honed by the finest instructors on Earth, these canine units serve beside our nation's warriors as they fight to preserve what we cherish. When these warriors complete their duty, the Warrior Dog Foundation provides them with a home deserving of the service they've given us all. At our state-of-the-art kennels, they receive rehabilitation and care suitable for heroes, because that's what they are. Be a part of giving them a future today. Visit warriordogfoundation.org.